Arsenal 5, Bolton 1. What a performance that was. I am so happy to see football back in the Emirates Stadium. I know we've had some good performances, especially against Tottenham and Man City, and they were both defensive performances, which were good in their own right, but I was getting a bit tired of seeing defensive performances, and I just wanted to see Arsenal go out, play some positive football, attack the opposition, and just entertain us. And I think today was good to see that from the team, and it was especially good to see a lot of young players come into the side as well. It's a hard one to know how we go about it in the Carabao Cup. Do we go all in, put in our best players, or do we put in all the youngsters and give them a chance, or do we go for a mix? And I think today we had a very good mix of players, both from the senior side and also from the youth side as well. And who would have thought we would have had a player to make his debut in the senior team who is younger than when Cesc Fabregas had first made his debut into the senior team back in 2003. Jack Porter, congratulations on making your debut. I know you're 16 years old, which is absolutely crazy. This guy is probably, in year 11, probably first year of A-level. It's absolutely nuts that a 16-year-old was able to make his debut into the senior team. Now, is he as good as Cesc Fabregas? I mean, it's not too early to say, and I think it's unfair to make those sorts of comparisons, especially when Cesc Fabregas at that time in 2003, 2004 was a generational talent. I mean, the guy replaced Vieira of all things, but that's a story for another day. I thought today he was okay. I think his positioning was a little bit off, especially when it came down to when Bolton were coming in from the wings and doing the crosses. I thought maybe one of the balls might have gone in to the goal with the way that Jack Porter was positioning himself. I thought some of his passes were a bit wayward. He was quite lucky that one of them didn't deflect and go into the goal. And I think he was nervous, and it was bound to happen. He's 16 years old, making his debut. If we were to say in the beginning of the season whether we were to ask or even comprehend that a 16-year-old kid would be coming into goal for Arsenal at any point in the season, we would have said no chance, but it actually happened today. We can argue that could be due to the poor transfer window choices that we made in signing Neto. Neto might be a good goalkeeper, but he is cup tied, and that was an absolutely bogus decision in itself. But who knows, maybe he might play in the other competitions, but that's another story for another day. Other than that, we saw some youngsters come in, especially on right back and left back. We saw Miles, we saw Nichols, and one thing that did concern me was the fact that we, especially in the first half, we kept playing the ball towards the right hand side, and Nichols was getting a lot of the ball, but I know we were trying to pass the ball to Bukayo Saka, and I love Bukayo Saka, but there are some games where we need to take the load off him a little bit, and just to see him play football today was a little bit concerning as well, because I thought maybe today he might be able to get a rest, but we have to make do with what we have. It was a big risk to play even more young players, even though as much as we did today. But other than that, Nichols and Miles played very well. I like the way that Miles and Sterling, their link up was very good, and I'm going to get into Sterling a little bit later, but what I really like from young players is how they show that they're confident, that they're not afraid to take risks, and that's what they were doing, especially with the long balls that they were giving, especially to Raheem Sterling, which I really like. Okay, maybe one ball may not happen, maybe it doesn't go off correctly, but you keep trying, and that's what we expect from youngsters and what they do on the pitch. You want them to be confident, you want them to be brave, and you want them to make a mark on the pitch, and that's where we get Ethan Nwaneri. He played very well. He made some good runs, he positioned himself in the right areas at the right time, and he was able to get 2 goals, which shows that he was very attentive to get into those positions in the first place. I think if we were to ask whether or not he would play in the next game against Leicester, maybe not. I think Trossard will be coming back weekend, which is very good, but I would say that he deserves more minutes, especially in the starting lineup, maybe in the last 10-20 minutes of the game. Once it's probably already sorted, or once we're able to kill a game off, he can come on then. But yeah, I think he played very well today. I can see why a lot of people hype him up, and just keep going. I think he will be absolutely fine. And then we come on to Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling has been making some fantastic runs, and he was also able to get us 2 goals. And Havertz was able to get us a goal as well with good positioning and his finishing as well. But I'm really happy to see Raheem Sterling get the 2 goals and make the runs he was doing, because he was the guy that was cutting through the Bolton defence without a shadow of a doubt. It does put him in contention for the weekend. I know Martinelli came on just to sort of play a couple of minutes to have a chance to maybe score a goal, but I think Raheem Sterling, even though we did did play against Bolton, who are in a lower division. Raheem Sterling is in contention for the weekend, and that's what we need in this team. One thing I will say is that with Raheem Sterling, I was hoping, and this is prior to when the season started, I was hoping that when he came into the team, or when we bought him, that he would be giving Bukayo Saka some competition on the right hand side. But he's playing on the left, which is good because he can play both on the left and the right, and he can also possibly play as the false line as well. But I hope further on in the season we get to see him play on the right hand side and give Bukayo Saka some rest when it's needed. And lastly, I just wanted to talk about Gabriel Jesus. Now, he played today, he was getting into positions and you can see he was trying to score. He done a couple of skills here and there, which was very entertaining. You come on, you expect that for a guy of his caliber. But I've got to admit, one thing that really alarmed me was when the commentators came out and they said that in the last 28 games he's only scored 3 goals. 3 goals in 28 games. Now, I see a lot of people talking about Martinelli, especially over the last 17 games he hasn't been able to score a goal, and I think even today, I think this might be his 18th game, he hasn't been able to score even though he came off the bench. But I think that's also very alarming from Gabriel Jesus. I know he's come out and said that scoring goals isn't one of his main strong suits, but as an attacker, we need more than that. I mean, 3 goals in 28 games, especially for somebody who's on 290k a week and someone who is contending against Kai Havertz for the striker position, it's just not good enough. And today, you can argue he was a bit unlucky. He was part of the build-up play, but these are the general things we see with Gabriel Jesus, and he really, I think even more than Martinelli, I think he really needs to get a goal. But I think he can get more minutes, especially when it comes to the weekend against Leicester and even the Premier League. And I think that's what's going to happen. We're going to incorporate him more and more into the starting 11, but we're just going to have to see what else we can get out of Gabriel Jesus, because that record is not very good, especially for a player like him. And obviously with Gabriel Martinelli as well, I mean, he came on, the game was more or less finished by that point, but it was just good for him to get a good run up. Rice scored a good goal, and yeah, I don't think there's anything more to go on from this game. I think it was good to see a lot of the young players play. Jack Porter, I can't believe a 16-year-old was able to get there. It still blows my mind. But yeah, good on Ethan Nwaneri, good on Miles, good on Nichols, good on whoever else was able to come on and play today. Cabia, very brief performance, but yeah, it was good. Anyhow, hope to see you all for the next Arsenal game, and hope everything's well. Bye bye.